Hello and welcome to Qubit Tech Talk, May 2022. I'm Josh Mandeville, the CTO of Qubit Networks. We did a series a while back for Qubit Tech Talks on different virtualization infrastructure technologies called hyperconverged or SAN, server SAN. And I had a few questions. And one of the questions that I received the most was when would I choose hyperconverged? Not necessarily over server SAN, but what's the scenario in which I would choose hyperconverged? Let me paint the picture of what hyperconverged is. Hyperconverged is where you have multiple servers and you're utilizing the hard drives that we install on those multiple servers as a virtual SAN. What is a SAN? A SAN is a shared storage between servers. The traditional server SAN model is you have multiple servers, and then you have one with a bunch of hard drives that's sharing all of that storage out to those multiple servers, and that's called. The hyperconverged model is we're using the local hard drives that we install on those servers across high-speed networking, sharing it across all the nodes of your server infrastructure. That's a simplistic answer as to what hyperconverged is. But if you go back, and I'll put links to the other videos that we did in the past, so you can get a more in-depth look at what hyperconverged is and what SAN is. And the reason people have moved towards hyperconverged in some scenarios is the ability to scale quickly. And that's kind of what hyperconverged brings, is especially we really like Nutanix at Qubit. We've seen their ability to scale quickly is pretty awesome, and their management and installation is super easy to load, and more compute and memory resources and even more disk storage into your environment is fairly easy using Nutanix as management of their hyperconverged nodes. And really, that's it. That, to me, that's the biggest thing, is the ability to scale up quickly to bring in more compute. But ask 50 different sysadmin or data center guys whether you should use hyperconverged or a typical server SAN situation, and you're probably going to get 50 different answers. The reason is because it really depends on the exact use case. Depends on the number of IOPS that you need for your applications and for your operating system. It depends on how much storage you need, what's most economical. And these days, it kind of depends on logistics of what's available and when we can get it. I will say that the server market seems to be shipping quite a bit faster than some other technologies, but still, all that plays into what do I need. There is no one size fits all when it comes to server storage. I would like to say, hey, here's a calculator, some sort of a web page. You can put all your numbers in and it just spits out exactly what you need. If it's a greenfield installation, normally we can develop a plan of attack for exactly what you need, but it's usually not. Usually we're migrating from one system or upgrading one set of systems into new hardware or even a new system. What Qubit likes to do, what I like to do, is come see what you're doing, run some tests, run some monitoring software on your current environment, talk to you about where you're headed with your current infrastructure, your current plant of servers, where you're trying to do in the future, how much growth you'll need, and then develop a solution around that. I will say that Nutanix fills a lot of need for server environment. In HCI, hyperconverged is really go in any situation. Check out the links below for the more in depth on how those different technologies work. If you have questions on server SAN or when to use hyperconverged versus server SAN typical server SAN setup, please contact us. I would love to sit with you and discuss your needs, run some software, monitor your systems for a week, see where your performance at, see where your bottlenecks are, and then develop a plan around that. I did receive that question quite a bit on when I would choose. There is no great answer on that. Hey, at this point you choose this. Now I'm sure you'll get some argument on that from some people, but to me, it's all about listening and knowing your environment, and then developing a plan for exactly what your needs are. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Qubit. I'll put some links in the description below, and hope you have a great Memorial Day. Thank you, and talk to you later.